feedback at work is best consumed fresh. That's why Rypple, a Toronto-based software company, has designed a product that allows for real-time responses at the office. Its Loops software lets users give instant input on a meeting, project, or proposal, and is delivered on a platform that mimics the user-friendly template of social media and apps. In fact, Facebook employees have been the guinea pig for Loops. They've been testing it for months. Daniel Debow is the CEO and co-founder of Rypple. Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So just describe how this works. Obviously, instant feedback, but what do we mean by that? How does it work?
Sure. Basically, we said that the world of work has changed a lot in the last 50 years, but the way that we're managing people hasn't. Performance reviews are not the way we work today. They're not collaborative, they're not social, they're not real-time. And so what Rypple is a performance platform that is social, real-time, collaborative. That's basically how it works. And then in terms of specifics, basically, think about sort of 4 streams of real-time feedback coming to you. You'd get public recognition for doing great work from your colleagues. You'd be able to gather your own feedback in a safe way. You'd have a way to manage coaching and one-on-one relationships between mentors and coaches, and also get feedback on the goals that you're working on in real time. And as you mentioned, Loops, which we built with Facebook, is a way to aggregate that all up and take the painful, old, slow performance review into the modern world.
Sounds wonderfully warm and fuzzy. How do you make money?
Sure, we charge people for it. You know, customers like Facebook or Gilt Group pay us anywhere between $5 or $9 per employee per month to use the service. It's not warm and fuzzy at all. It's actually based on a lot of hard behavioral science around what really motivates people at work.
How much tweaking do you have to do company to company once you've obviously got the software model? Do you have to customize it terribly from one to the next?
No, not at all. And part of our business model is to avoid any customization, to allow users to customize it in the same way. And I think you're familiar with using Facebook. You'd feel, hey, this is personalized to me. It's the same experience when you use Rypple, except it's social behavior that's appropriate at work.
Now, can you rank yourself against others in your department and in your company if you wish?
It's not designed to encourage ranking, but one component of Loops is if organizations would like to use it for a little bit more traditional stack ranking, it can be one of the outputs of the Loop process. Many customers choose to not do that because they don't think it adds a heck of a lot of value to their organization.
Now, there are some companies that are just geared for feedback, and their DNA is more that way. I mean, the classic example is Procter & Gamble, that really gets the mentorship and it's kind of the personality profiling. For companies that aren't, and journalistic entities would be one, feedback is kept to a minimum. How do you change the culture in a way that makes this not something that's kind of disruptive and intrusive and sort of mesh it into the workday?
Sure. Well, the first thing is that we tend to work with those first companies. We tend to work with companies that they really value their people and they actually want to just get faster because it's a competitive advantage. Feedback helps people learn and helps businesses get better. Yeah. But we also do work with more traditional firms, and the way that we work with them is bit by bit. We'll start with one part. They'll start trying to use more recognition at work. I think it's really important to recognize the things that we're doing, just like Facebook, are not new behaviors. People already ask for feedback. They already recognize each other. We're just making it much more efficient so it can happen more often. And I think it's important to recognize this is the same behavior that's occurred trying to get to just in time in every other part of our business process, starting with Toyota, with Lean. We're just trying to take the last part, how we manage people, and try and make that just in time as well. And so even traditional manufacturers who understand how Lean can improve business operations, they pretty much get and they understand, wow, why aren't you helping your people get better small bits at a time, incrementally? Why are we waiting 6 months or a year to then tell people all at once how they can get better?
So let's say I'm a large enterprise, 10,000 people. This could become a material cost to me. Is there any way you can prove to me, and some metric that you can measure, that if I implement the system, I get the productivity back, some kind of a return on my investment?
Yeah, sure. Well, the first is that you can start with a smaller group, and you can see how people react to it. I think then the metrics that people are often going to look through are probably 3 areas. One, from a perspective of HR, they're going to look to softer things like engagement and usage, how much people are actually using this tool. The second is, how much time are we saving because we don't shut our company down for a week to write essays about each other once a year, right? People are out there selling, and they're out there building products, they're out there innovating, and instead they've broken something that's very batchy into a real-time process they're doing all the time. So you can look at the savings there. And then from a cost perspective, if you're talking about a 10,000 person company, obviously we're not going to be charging our rack rate for a 200 person company at $9. We do bulk pricing.
Daniel, I got to say, one of the biggest challenges that I can see for Facebook is making itself relevant to business.
Right.
This seems like the kind of thing that is a good fit. How are you not a takeover target for a company like Facebook?
Well, having spent a heck of a lot of time at Facebook, I can tell you that they don't have a lot of interest in the corporate world right now. I think they're very, very focused on growing in the consumer space right now. But what we're trying to do is build a great business and not think about how you sell it. We're just trying to build something great and actually build something great for end users, managers, and employees.
All right, Daniel, great to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Daniel Debow, CEO of Rypple. Stay with us after the break. In search of dry wine, how about Gobi Desert Vineyard? It's our priceless moment.